What's happening, guys? So I got another one of the Lone Ranger's knives I'm going to sharpen up. This is a Spyderco Endura in K390. I'm going to be using my Gritomatic stones, 240 to 2.5K. Had them soaking in the water for about 10 minutes, give or take, while I got everything set up. Just going to keep the existing angle that is on the knife and just go at it. Now I've sharpened K390 on my own Endura, and I can't recall if I used the Gritomatic stones on it or not. I do know I used my Veneve Diamond, and they seem to do very well on it. I've already got a burr down here in the base of the knife up to about right here, so I need to develop a burr right in this area, and I'm done with that side. I've described this before. To isolate the tip area, I got this from J. Davis. I just go through my whole stroke, and when I get to the tip, I just hold that angle and sharpen. To get to the very tip, I place my finger on the knife like this and actually let my finger ride on the stone, and I can feel when the tip is actually getting hit. And it helps me get an even bevel from heel to tip. Now I've got a bevel across, or I'm sorry, a burr across the whole edge. I'm going to do a few long strokes just to clean it up. And do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, so I've got a burr developed across the whole edge, but I can see down here in the base I still got some factory scratches going on. So I need to work on that just a little bit more. Just to get those scratches out, make everything consistent. Of course, it's not required. I could just skip that. The knife will get plenty sharp. But I do like to make them look as good as I can. That looks like I got it. Looks like I got the same thing on the other side that I didn't pay enough attention to. Alright, that's got it. Next, I'm going to go to the 1K stone. I've got a little bit of swarf buildup on this one. Just going to take a Nagara stone, clean it off real quick. So here we're going to do the exact same thing we did on the other stone. Just going to sharpen both sides until I develop a burr, and then move on to a finer grit. Got a very fine burr. Of course, 1K is a very fine stone, so it can be difficult to fill it. If you're ever in doubt, get yourself a magnifying glass or some way to magnify the edge just to verify you've got the burr. And once you do, you know you're ready to switch sides or switch stones. Now with the finer grit stones, obviously the finer you go, the harder it is to detect. Again, magnification will help, but as you go along, you just start to see where your grind marks are, your grind lines, and when they go from the top of the bevel all the way down to the edge, you know you're good to go. I think that's a pretty big and common mistake new sharpeners run across, is they switch stones before they're finished with the one they're working on. What results is usually a nice bevel but dull knife. Now I've already got a burr on both sides, just doing a few back and forth passes, help clean it up, possibly cut it off. This is obviously my 2500 grit. It's going to be the final stone I sharpen on tonight. I found in my own use, K390 does okay with a polished edge, but it seems to prefer a little bite to it. So I'm not going to polish this edge with any of my Sharpening stones. I'm just going to go and stick strictly with the silicone carbide here. You hear that scraping right there? What that is the stone hitting the little ricasso area. There's really not much for it unless you want to put a sharpening notch there. This being Brian's knife, I'll let him do that should he decide he wants that. Brian does know how to sharpen. He just sends me his knives because he knows I enjoy this sort of thing. And I actually don't have very many people who take me up on my offer of sharpening their knives for free, so he indulges me. And we are just about done with this. I'll do a few final passes. I'm going to clean the stone off one more time just to finish this edge out. It's my DLT XL Strop, white compound. For the price and the results you get, I just don't think you can beat white compound. Hopefully you guys can read these numbers. I've been asked many times why I don't like to use this little device. What this does, it allows you to put your knife edge down and then make your cut on the edge on an edge tester. The reason I don't like using it is because it creates a downward slicing motion like this. That almost creates a saw-like pattern as you cut. It can skew your results. So I just personally don't like to use it. I know other guys wouldn't have it any other way. I personally I prefer to do it freehand like everything else. I've also been asked how I tighten my thread or my media. What I usually do is I pull enough out and I take a Leatherman juice. which weighs 126 grams. Just put a rubber band around the jaws, clip it to the media, wrap it around and let it dangle. And as it's dangling, tighten the media. That gives me 126 grams of tension on the wire. And then I make my test. $74. That's more like it. So the average comes out to basically 101. I did the fourth cut test just because I had that result of 74, which was quite low compared to the other ones. I think it was a fluke. I'm not sure. It didn't seem right to me, so always take an extra test and just average it all out. Makes more sense. Needless to say, it is sharp. Just want to give you guys a close-up of this bevel and edge. I don't know if you saw me as I was pantomiming that slicing motion. I nipped my finger, and yes, it did cut me. A little booger. It is sharp. I think it came out pretty nice. It's a little hazy, not super bright. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them down below. Y'all have a good one.